Okay. Yeah, go ahead. What else? Anything else? Anything. It's fine.
Ma'am, about the love of brothers.
Lover brothers. Okay. All right. Okay. Somebody is not able to connect, it seems.
Why?
Let me share the password.
And about the courage of Ram and Lakshman.
And
Very
ma'am, it
good.
emphasizes the value of dharma.
Value of dharma. Okay.
Ma'am, and even karma, like what you do happens with you also, because like Dashrath, he had killed killed not yeah so he had killed one boy whose parents were blind, so they cursed him that as they had to stay away from their child, even he will have to stay away, so he also had to stay away from Ram and Lakshman.
Okay. All right. So I'm going to tell you about Ramayana from a totally different perspective. Okay. So this is what interestingly I learned from my mother. So it's like my exam is going on now because my mom is in the class. Okay. So it will depend on how much I understood it. Okay. Now, anything else? Anything else you guys have?
It tells us about this trust on each other.
Okay. Yes. So the Ramayana which we know right now is a humanized version. Okay. So there is Ramayana which was passed on by Valmiki Rishi, and then there is an extension of the Ramayana which is called the Uttara Ramayana. Okay. So the Uttara Ramayana has, after Rama and Sita come back, what happens? That is the Uttara Ramayana. That is not written by Valmiki. It basically ends once the Pattabhishek, whatever happens, right? Once they come back, they crown him the king. Once that happens, the Valmiki Ramayana ends. Okay. So what exactly is Valmiki Ramayana? Okay. Rama plus Ayana. Ayana means journey. Okay. And Rama, it is actually two ways you can pronounce it. Rama means bliss. Extreme happiness is bliss. You guys know what bliss is, right? Extreme happiness. Like, you just don't need anything else. That is bliss. Okay. You're happy. You're just happy. Sitting by yourself. You're just happy. Okay. So that is bliss. That is Rama. Okay. Rama is somebody who gives you that bliss. Okay, so Rama plus Ayana, the journey of the person who gives you the bliss. Who is it? Who will give you happiness? You yourself. So Ramayana is the story of a person, a human, any human. Okay, Ramayana is the story, a journey of when we are born till our death. Whatever we go through, that is Ramayana. Okay, so each character in Ramayana represents a character within ourselves, interestingly. Okay, and what is the need for secrecy? Why didn't they just tell it directly, right? They should have told us. If they had told all these things directly, we would have learned it, and maybe we would have followed it. All of us would have Rama in our hearts, right? All of us would be super happy. But why the secrecy? I have always been curious about that. Like, all our scriptures hold secrets within them, and I always used to think, why the secrecy? Why not tell it out? Why not be open with what you want to tell people, what you want them to learn? Then, slowly, as I grew up, I understood that not everybody can understand everything, right? Suppose if you are doing linear equations now and you say that linear equations are so simple, they just have x and y and z and numbers. Why don't they start teaching us from first standard itself? They can, but you won't be able to understand it, right? Hello Atta, వినబడుతుందా? Atta, వినబడుతుందా? Arunata? Many people cannot are unable to hear the sound for some reason. Just give me a minute, guys. Sorry. All right. So why the reason? Why the reason for secrecy? Why are they not telling us directly? It is because you have to reach a certain level to understand certain things. Level, I don't mean materialistic levels like age or finances or not stuff like that. It is your mental growth in order to take in some stuff. Okay, guys, whoever can open the videos, open it please. Okay, Kanav, Lalit, Ananya. I think we lost Agrim. Yes. So now I will explain Ramayana to you in such a way which is going to make a difference in your life. Okay. So why Ramayana? Why only Ramayana? We have so many stories. We are used to stories which are taught in a humanized form or in form of animals like Panchatantra and Jataka tales. If you take, they try to teach us morals using animals, right? So similarly, we come from a culture wherein they try to use something or the other to teach you something else. Okay, they simplify it. They simplify it because most of our stories have been first created as folk tales. Okay, and folk tales, you need simpler language, right? You need simpler language. It's for regular people like us all. It's not for pundits, it's not for scholars and all. So it's for regular people. So that is the reason they also created Ramayana in a humanized version. Okay, in the humanized version there is Rama. He has a dad, he has moms, a kingdom, he's a king and all that. Okay, but what I'm going to teach you is totally different. Now, as I told you, Rama plus Ayana, it is the journey of a person to get complete internal peace, that inner bliss which you don't get from outside, you get it from inside yourself. Happiness always comes from inside yourself. Many people don't know it. Many people think that see, what happens is when you do shopping, or when you have fun with your friends, what happens is endorphins develop in your body, right? As endorphins develop in your body, that is the one which makes you think you are happy. It is a happy hormone. What happens is, like all other hormones, it only has 40 minutes of life. So after 40 minutes, you want to go shopping again, or you want to go playing again, or you want to play again, right? Because the body craves endorphins. It is addicted to happiness. Body is addicted to happiness. You always want to be happy. But what happens after 40 minutes? Those endorphins die. So instead of looking for those endorphins outside, you have to look for it inside, within yourself. That is when you're going to be happy all the time. Always. Okay. Now, let's start with Dashratha. Okay. What do you know about Dashratha?
He's the king of
He
Ayodhya.
was a great king.
Mm-hmm.
He was the father of Rama.
Okay.
And he was also the king of Ayodhya.
Ayodhya. All right. Okay. So let's break up his name again, like Ramayan. Let's break up Dashrath's name. Dashrath.
Dashratha.
So they have showed it to us that he's the kind of guy who can drive 10 chariots at the same time.
Yes, auntie, I had heard this about
What
this.
does it mean? Can anybody tell me?
Is it that he can face a lot of difficulties or he can do difficult
No,
jobs?
Dashrath. So what are the 10 things we have in our body? They are the senses. 10 senses. 5 Jnanendriya and 5 Karmendriya we have, right? So
Ma'am, I
Jnana,
don't understand.
sorry,
Ma'am, can you repeat what did you say?
I'll repeat it. Yes, don't worry. I'm going to get it through your heads today. Okay, so basically we have senses, right? We have eyes, nose, mouth, tongue. We have the skin for touch, and then we have the hands, we have feet, we have legs, we have the excretory organs. So all these organs work in synchronization with each other. They all work by themselves, and it's involuntary. When something comes near you, your eyes automatically close. They are involuntarily, they do a lot of things. But what happens is, when they do things in an involuntary manner, they also do things which are not useful to us. Like, if suppose you see something, your ears will hear something else, and then your brain will process it and something else will go into your head, right? You're seeing something. You're basically seeing something, a very an event going on in front of you. You're seeing it, but your ears hear something else. Okay, and in the meantime, your nose will is going to smell pav bhaji from somewhere else. That comes into the picture. Okay, and then what happens? Your mouth starts salivating because that triggers the mouth, the saliva inside you, right? And then your skin starts, like, maybe it feels hot, maybe it feels cold. What happens is, all these senses will keep that event in a different form in your head. What you see is not what you store.
Yes, auntie.
Right?
Auntie, that happens a lot of time. Whenever I go to watch a show, if I smell something, I think only about the food.
Yes, exactly. That is the reason when you go to a same event, let's say you have gone to an entertainment park. Okay, you've gone to an entertainment park, but if 10 people go, 10 people remember it in 10 different ways. Why? It is the same entertainment park, same amusement park you have gone to, same carousels we have gone in, same food we have all eaten, but all the 10 people remember it in 10 different ways. Why is that so? It is the way your mind processes it, and it is the way it has stored in your subconscious mind. Okay, some people will remember all the smells, some people will remember all the colors, some people will remember one particular event which happened, right? So all these things happen because of the way it is stored in your subconscious level. Okay, now, one second. Yeah, so Dashrath means not 10 physical chariots. He is the guy who has his senses in his control, all the 10 senses in his control. He will not let his mouth talk whatever it wants. He will not let his eyes see whatever they want. Everything is in his control. What you see, what you hear, what you process, everything should always be in your control. Then what happens? The external events, the external people, the external things will not affect the way you think, which means you're in control, you're in full control of your life. You are the driver of your car. Nobody else is driving it for you. You don't give your remote control to anybody else. You have it in your own hands. What you want to say, you will see. If somebody says something bad about you, if you want to listen, you will listen. Otherwise, you will stop your ears. You will say that don't listen to it. If something bad is happening in front of you, if you can help, you will go and help. If you cannot help, close it. If it doesn't concern you, close it. Right? So we are always taught to do good, right? But one thing you have to understand is doing good does not mean messing in other situations. Two people are fighting, you don't do good by helping them. Okay? Something, but yes, there are some good things. You see a hungry person, you give them food, right? That's a good deed. That's a good deed. But what happens is you also have to understand that you can't keep hunting for a hungry person. Okay, you can't say that I'm doing good, because you have to understand even doing good will create endorphins in your head. That's also an addiction. Okay, that is also an addiction. You will, once you do it, you will start thinking that, okay, I have to do good. It feels so good. When I do good, it feels so good, right? Which means you have again fallen prey to one of your senses, right? So Dashrath is a person who had all his senses under his control. He could do whatever he wants based on his own needs. Okay, he was a good king. That was the reason he was a very good king. Okay, he wasn't personally involved in anybody's life, but he was a good king because he did his duty as a king very well. Got it? But he had, have you heard about primal qualities? Everybody has something called primal qualities. उसको ना हम लोग गुण बोलते हैं, गुण. Okay, so in Telugu we call it gunalu. Okay, so in Hindi it is called the Sanskrit word, I believe the root word is gun. Okay, so क्या है वो गुण? What are those gun? There are 3 guns. Okay, 3 primal qualities everybody has, but in all the 3 primal qualities, one will be a bit higher, one will be a bit lower. You know, the ratio of A, B and C will change, will keep changing. Okay, those are sattva, raja, tamo. Okay, 3 gunas. Remember, sattva, raja, tamo gunas. Okay, now when we talk about Dashrath, we say that, see, Dashrath is a king. Okay, he had around 350, 360 wives. Okay, but only these 3 wives we talk about, right? Which are, who are the 3 wives of Dashrath?
Kaushalya,
Yes,
Kaikai, and Sumitra.
Sumitra. Okay, so these 3 represent the 3 gunas in a person. So even if your senses, even if you are in control of your senses, it is possible that one of these gunas will pull you down. Okay, so Kaushalya represents Rajoguna and Sattva-guna. Okay, I will explain the gunas to you, what they mean. Okay, what they are. Sumitra represents again Rajaguna and Sattva-guna. And Kaikeyi is pure Tamaguna, Tamas guna. Okay, she's pure Tamas. Now, what are they? The gunas, let me tell you what they are. So, Sattva guna is a guna wherein you want to do everything good. Like I told you, even doing good is addiction. Being good is also an addiction. These are the people who go with NGOs. They always want to do good. They always want to spread happiness. They want to spread love. Okay, they help needy people. Mother Teresa, she is Sattva guna. Okay, Mother Teresa. So, but what happens is there will come a stage where even Sattva guna becomes an addiction. You can't stop it. You have to keep on doing good. They do good till, you know, they give away all their property. They don't even have enough food to eat, and the addiction becomes so strong that they can't handle people who are not good. That is when they start preaching. They start preaching that, you know, you have to be good, you have to do this, you have to do that. you have to give to beggars, you have to feed the needy people, you have to take care of the deceased. So they start preaching. So again, when you start preaching, what is happening? Your addiction has gone external, right? And when the other person does not listen to you, what happens? You feel hurt. You're like, why are they not doing it? When I'm doing it, why are they not doing it? And then there will come a stage when they will think that, okay, only a person who does good to me, I will do good to them. Right? But that is not the case. So that is what will happen with people with sattva guna. Okay. Second is rajaguna. Rajaguna is all about power. Okay. They like to control people. They like to be at a place of power. They like to be at a place where everybody appreciates them. They also do good. Even Rajaguna does good. Like politicians, take politicians for example. Most of them have the Rajaguna because the feeling of power is what clicks their endorphins. Right? So that is the Rajaguna. So Rajaguna people, what they want is they like being in power, but if the Rajaguna increases too much, they also start suppressing because they don't want another king. They don't want another person in the same level of power. They don't want another person who might take away their particular power, their particular seat. It can be anything. Like if you see celebrities, most of them will have it. Like they are not happy with their position. They are happy with holding on to their position. They don't want to let go. They don't want anybody else in that position. They're like, they cling to it. So that is Rajaguna. And the third one is Tamas Guna. So Tamas Guna is it's the scariest, I feel. Okay. Because Tamas Guna is all about me. The concept of me. They want everything for themselves. The selfishness, what happens is the selfishness will grow to such an extent that they start becoming selfish about everything and anything. They start becoming selfish. Okay. So these three gunas exist in everybody. You guys have to understand that they exist in everybody, but we have to keep them all under control. Because even if we keep our senses under control, if the gunas, if you are into tamas guna, then what happens is it will pull you down. Okay, because it's all about survival. Tamas guna is all about survival, my survival, not just the concept of I is very strong in that. Okay, so whenever you get a thought, I want you kids to think, what guna is coming up, what am I acting on? But as you grow older and you want to go in the divine path, like you want to talk about moksha and all that, you want to reach to the divine, what happens is you have to go beyond the gunas also. Beyond all three also you have to go. But yes, when you are growing up, if you don't consider your gunas, you will not become successful in life. Because if you don't want anything, you're happy with yourself, why will you succeed? You will not have an ambition. You will not have a goal in life. Right? So these three gunas are the ones which are going to keep you happy till a certain stage. After that, after you cross your 30s, 35, 40, then you can start slowly releasing them. Release them, not let go of them. You can't let go of them. That's when, you will want to go to a forest and sit over there because you don't want anything else. Right? So these are the three gunas. So Dasharatha, as such, is a guy who controlled his senses, but he was a slave to his gunas. And what happened? The tamas guna pulled him down. Right? Tamas guna, when we say that, Kaikeyi made him send Rama to the forest, can somebody make you do something? They can't, right? It has to come from within you. Nobody can make you do anything. It has to come from within you, right? Now, what happens is when Dasharatha was 65,000 years old, he was an old guy, okay? He was around 65,000 years old. Then he felt that, he had no children. Then he felt that he wanted kids, an heir to the kingdom, because it was a huge kingdom and he wanted an heir to the kingdom. Okay. Now, when he felt he wanted an heir, what does it mean? It means that there is some, what do you say? You want something. You want something with a passion, right? And when you want something with a passion, you get a guide and mentor who will take you to it. So he got the rishis, he got the gurus, he did all the yajna and everything. So when you want something, let's say you want to become a scientist, okay, you have to want to become a scientist with your entire heart, with your full heart. If you feel that I can either become a scientist or I can become a doctor, it's okay. No, it will not work. If you want to be a scientist, you struggle for it, you strive for it, you go to the college which will teach you that, you find the teachers which will guide you in it, right? That is what you do. That's what Dashratha did, because when he was 65,000 years old, that's when he felt that, no, okay, I've got to have an heir for this kingdom. It's been long, okay, I'm getting old. He felt he was getting old and he wanted it. Okay, so what did he do? He did all the yajnas, he called a lot of people, he got to know. And when something you wish for, when you wish for with all your heart, then it will manifest in your heart. That is Rama. Rama is the happiness which is born from his mind. Rama is a manifestation of his happiness. Okay, so Rama is he is born because he wanted it with so much passion. He wanted it. He wanted a son. He wanted a something who can guide his kingdom, whom everybody will love, who will make a good king, and he manifested it. So that is how you manifest something. You want something, you have to think with they say na manasa vacha karmana, from your heart, the things you do and the words you use. So all these three, you have to mix it, only then you can manifest anything in your life. Okay, pure passion, that is pure passion. So Rama is born from his mind, because that's the fruit of his labor. That is what that fruit represents. When they say he was given a fruit and told to give to all three wives, what is it? He gave to three gunas, and out of the gunas only, out of him only, those four children were born. What are those four children? Who are those four children? Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata, and Shatrugna. Okay, now what are these four? What are these four? I will tell you. Rama, as I told you, is bliss, a person who gives you happiness, who is within yourself.
Auntie, so bliss is always.
You're on mute, baby.
Auntie, so bliss is always happiness within ourselves, or it can be anything.
Bliss is happiness, baby. It can come from within yourself, it can come from external things. But like I told you, whatever comes from external things lasts only for 40 minutes because it is endorphins. But bliss within yourself, like suppose you are just sitting and reading a book. Okay. And that half an hour, you are so engrossed in the book that you don't think about any external world. Right? Varenya, did we lose you? Varenya?
Video is paused.
Video is paused, yes. All right, we'll come back to this once she connects back, okay? So Lakshmana, who is Lakshmana? We say that Rama and Lakshmana always stay together. Why? Okay.
Ma'am, the eldest is Rama, then Bharat, then Lakshmana.
It doesn't matter. They're all four children of Dashratha, right?
They are all brothers.
They're all brothers, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes or no? So I'm going to tell you in such a way that they're all actually one. All four of them are actually one. They belong to the person, a human. Okay. So Like Rama, like when we say the Lakshmana always stays with the Rama, it is because Lakshmana is the Tapah Shakti. What is Tapah Shakti? It is our passion, perseverance towards something. You want to become a doctor, you have to persevere towards it. Do you know how many years a doctor takes? He takes about 10 years. Like, he has to first study MBBS, then he has to do MD, then work as an intern, then work as a doctor. Then, he comes to a stage where he can work in a hospital all by himself, right? So 10 years of perseverance is what made a doctor. 10 years of perseverance is what made him proud of himself, proud of his job. Yes, Varenya, can you hear me now?
Yes, auntie, I got disconnected actually.
Not an issue, not an issue.
Okay, auntie.
Okay. So, like I was saying, yeah, you were asking about bliss, right? Varenya?
Yes. Yes, auntie.
Yeah. So, bliss is happiness. Just happiness. You can just sit in a garden and enjoy the sounds, enjoy the smells, everything. That gives you bliss. If you are a nature lover, if you love books, sit with a book for half an hour and it will give you bliss, right? Because when you are reading a book, except your eyes and your mind, all your other senses are under your control. You don't let them go out, right? Varenya, can you hear me, baby?
Yes. Yes, auntie.
Did you get it?
Yes, auntie.
All right. So Lakshmana is your perseverance. When you want any passion, when you want that inner bliss, you have to persevere towards it, persist towards it. You have to work towards it. Okay. Until you do it, you will not get it. If you want to become a doctor, like I said, it's going to take 10 years of your life. And then, then you get the feeling that, yes, I'm a specialist. And even after that, every time you lose a patient, you are hurt, right? So the perseverance is what will take you towards your goal. You have to understand that. And when you reach your goal, you're happy, right? That is why we always say that along with Rama, there's always Lakshmana. If you want happiness, you have to have perseverance in your life. Got it? Did you guys get it?
Yes, auntie.
Okay. So again, it's also your manifesting power. Lakshmana is your manifesting power, wherein I want this. You, like, 100% you have it within yourself that you want it. You can't think of anything else. You have no other thing. Like, I have seen a couple of interns who only sleep for, like, 2 or 3 hours in a night, and they do like that for almost 3 to 4 years of their life. Why do they do that? Because they want it. They want to be a doctor, and you want something, you can't leave it in between. When you leave it in between, you cannot reach your goal. So that is the Tapah Shakti which Lakshmana represents. Okay, he represents that extreme passion for manifestation. Anything you wish to manifest, you have to have the passion towards it. Now Bharata is pure perseverance. Okay, what is perseverance? It's your in simple words, perseverance means headstrongness. Okay, करना है तो करना ही है. If I want to become a doctor, I will become a doctor. I will stop eating, I'll stop sleeping. I will spend the maximum amount of time working for my exams. Or if you are in an office, you will think that anything for that matter. Okay, but I'm giving a few examples. If you are in an office and you want a promotion, you will work towards that promotion. It's like, come hell or high water, I have to get that promotion. That is pure perseverance, is Bharata. That is the reason, even after he went back, he was like, if Ayodhya has a king, it is only Rama. That is it. He doesn't even get any thought. That is the reason he is like, it is only Rama. That's all. There's nothing else. Nobody can move them. Okay, that is perseverance. That is pure perseverance. So what all did you get now? You got a person who wants to be happy. You got the manifestation power, and then you got the perseverance. But along with perseverance, what should you have? If you want to persevere, what should you have? You should have the inner strength. Whatever anybody says, if somebody says that, there is no doctor in our family, you can't be a doctor. Or if they say that everybody in our family are lawyers, which means you have the brain for lawyers, why don't you become a lawyer? But no, that inner strength will tell you that even if there are lawyers all around me, I want to be a doctor. If I want to be a scientist, I will be a scientist, even though I grew up in a family of priests. Okay? Even though I grew up in a family of only 10th pass people, I want to become a scientist. That is the inner strength. You need that inner strength. So these four things, any success in life, you need these four things. Happiness with what you have, what you are getting, and working towards your own inner happiness. For that, what do you need? The manifestation power. How will you get the manifestation power? With passion. Lot of passion for what you want to do. And towards that passion, you have to persevere. If you have to go study in a hostel, you have to go stay away from parents and you have to study, you will still do it. If you want to go and, if you go to a place where the conditions aren't very good, like, it's either too cold or too hot a place, and still you will go and do it because that is your passion and that is your perseverance towards your goal. Okay, and the fourth is the inner strength. The inner strength will come to you. It has to always stay, like, perseverance and inner strength go hand in hand. That is why they say Bharata and Shatrughna are always together. So sometimes it is possible that perseverance is away from you. That's why Bharata could stay away from Rama, but Lakshmana cannot stay away with Rama, because your thoughts, your manifestation will always stay with you. Your passion will always stay with you. But the need to push that passion, like suppose, let's say you want to be an actor, okay, and one whole year you want to take a break, or you want to be a cricketer, okay, and one whole year you want to be a break. When you are on a break, you are still a cricketer. You still think like a cricketer, right? You still think like a cricketer, but that 1 year you keep that perseverance away from you, and after 1 year it will come back to you. That is what it means when they say that Bharata and Shatrughna stayed away from him for 14 years, but again they came back to him, right? So perseverance can stay away. We can take a break once in a while. We can take a break. Okay, turn on your videos, guys. So we can take a break and we can come back to that passion again. Okay, but the actual passion will stay with us, right? That will not leave us, because that is part of us, that is part of who we are, right? So that is what Rama, Lakshmana, Bharata and Shatrughna means. Any questions, guys?
Auntie, so it's like passion and perseverance are also they also go hand in hand, correct?
Yes, passion and perseverance go hand in hand, but perseverance, sometimes we can feel that, okay, I'm going to take a break for 6 months, right?
Yeah.
Correct. Like, if you're studying too much, you can say that, okay, weekend I will take a break. Does that mean come Monday
Yes, sir.
your passion will reduce? No, right? If you want to come first
No.
in the class, but you can always say that, okay, 2 days I can take a break, or 1 week
Yes.
I can go on a vacation.
Yes, auntie.
So when you go on a vacation, what is happening? You're just putting that perseverance on hold. And after you come back again, the perseverance comes back to you.
Yes, auntie.
Got it? Any other doubts,
Yeah.
guys? Ananya, Agreem, Kanav, Lalit?
No, ma'am.
Ma'am, I just want to ask, what is the meaning of perseverance? I didn't understand.
Perseverance. Perseverance is sticking on to what you want. It's basically an inner tantrum, Agrim. It's like, I want it means I want it. Okay? So, and you work towards
Yes,
it. Suppose you want to come first in the class, nobody else can help you. You have to work towards it, right?
yes, ma'am.
And what do? You will work more and more towards it. You'll either learn different techniques to learn it faster, or you'll spend more time to learn it. Yes, Kanav, I think I can hear you. Kanav, I think we lost you. Yeah. Yes, Agrim, did you get it?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. So anything you work towards is perseverance. Like you want to, let's say you want a chocolate badly. Okay, just a very simple example I'm saying. You want a chocolate very badly, then you will go to 10 shops before you get the chocolate you want, right? But perseverance usually works for things like coming first, reaching your goals, achieving something in life. Achieving something in life. So all these things are what perseverance is about, because they are long term. Okay, long term goals cannot be done quickly. Say you want to get into one specific college, then you start studying from 7th standard or 8th standard onwards, because you want to get that particular percentage which will put you in that particular college. So from 7th standard or 8th standard onwards, you have that perseverance. Okay, did you get it, Agrim?
Auntie, can you hear me now?
Yes, Kanav, I can hear you.
I was not able to, I was able to hear you, but I guess my mic was not working.
Yeah, not an issue. Agrim, did you get it, baby?
Yes, ma'am.
All right, Kanav, any question?
What did you just explain right now? I did not get that.
He wanted to know what perseverance was.
Oh, okay, ma'am. Okay.
Okay, so perseverance is basically hanging on to something. Okay, so next is, you said Dasharatha is the king of Ayodhya, right?
Yes, auntie.
What is Ayodhya? Again, let's
Kingdom.
separate it. Let's separate it, okay? Ayodhya means something which cannot be won by war. He is the king of a land which cannot be won by war. What is it? Our own self. You can't fight with your eyes. You can't fight with your sense organs. You can't fight with your gunas. So your body, if you want to keep it happy, you have to keep it happy in such a way that you don't fight with it. Got it? So that is Ayodhya. So a person, a soul, when it comes into a body, it comes with a specific task. Okay, specific lessons it wants to learn, and specific things it wants to do. Okay, but what we do is we try to go against it. Like I said, it could be past beliefs, it could be environmental conditions, it could be our familial conditions, where we grow up, our family. Like I said, uh, there was No, I guess you guys didn't must not have heard it because it's a Telugu song. Okay, so what happens is in that he says that the guy wants to become an actor, but the dad makes him a doctor. Okay, so when he wants to be an actor, but he becomes a doctor for his father, what happens? He's fighting against himself. He's not fighting against his dad over there actually. He thinks he's making his father happy. But what is happening over there is he fought against himself. He fought against his passion. And what happens? He becomes a bad doctor. He cannot be successful, right? Maybe successful in terms of money, but what is actual success in life? Success is happiness. Whatever gives you happiness, whatever makes you happy, whatever makes you feel, okay, I'm settled, I'm set. Okay, the food you eat, the place you stay, the thoughts you get, all indicate your success. They are the measurement of success you have to consider in life. People think success is the amount of money you earn, the company you work for, or the beauty you have in you once you cross your 40s, or the food you eat, the place you stay. No, they are all external. They're all external forms of success. And when you go for external forms of success, they're all relative. Like, if you say that I bought a big house, you have to understand that there's an Ambani who has a bigger house, right? And if you want, let's say that, I'm successful because I am working with, say, Microsoft. You have to understand there's a guy who owns Microsoft, right? Or if you talk in terms of money, if you say that I always keep 1 lakh bank balance, there's always a guy who keeps a 10 lakhs bank balance, right? So external ones, whatever comes, are always relative. So when you measure your success in terms of external things, they are always relative. But when you measure success in terms of internally, like if you wanted to become a scientist and you became a scientist, you reached your goal, you're happy, right? Nobody can take it away from you. Nobody can say that, oh, you became a scientist, I became a bigger scientist. There's nothing as a bigger scientist. You're a scientist means you're a scientist. You
Yes,
want to be
Annie.
a businessman, then you can say that if you want to create a niche for yourself and you want to create a business, even if it is small, the satisfaction which it will give you is like awesome. And the growth which you will go, your steps which will go, is something nobody can take it from you, right? So that is the Ayodhya. That is the happiness which comes to you only when you persevere, only when you reach the goal, only when you create your passion, manifest it, and then you have that internal bliss inside you. Nobody can take it from you. Nobody can spoil it for you, right? And what happens is, yes, if it is external trappings, they will try to spoil it for you. If you build a 2 BHK house, people will say that 2 BHK, my sister's cousin's son, he built a 3 BHK, beautiful it is. They will say that. And what do you want? You want to compare with that person's sister's son, whom you actually don't know. But your mind will say that, okay, so maybe that is the success you have to reach. But no, success is all within you, inside you. And once you manifest your success, whatever you want will come to you. Abundance will come to you. Okay, remember that. Now, what happened? He was okay. Rama, all of them were okay in Ayodhya. Everything worked out fine. Now, what happens is he got married. He went to the forest. He learned a lot of things. Like, as you're growing up, you learn a lot of things. And for that, all the guides, all the mentors, all the gurus who came to him, the rishis came to him. And what are Rakshasas? We have to know that. That's a very important thing. What are Rakshasas? Why is it that there is one god and there are thousands of Rakshasas?
Ma'am, is it obstacles in reaching our path?
It is obstacles, but it is also your own thoughts. Ego, greed, guilt, selfishness, lot many things which are external, which are internal, the fight within yourself, those are all Rakshasas. That's why if you have one good thought, you can have 10 bad thoughts, but that one good thought should be strong enough to destroy those 10 bad thoughts. So that is what the fight between the good and evil means. Okay, so those ten bad thoughts, whatever, 10 different things, addictions, people will say that, hey, you're 18, you're 21, let's start drinking, let's start smoking. Everybody does it. What is that everybody? Everybody need not be you. You have to understand that. When they say, hey, let's bunk college, let's go to movies, everybody does it. Who is that everybody? You have to ask yourself, who is that everybody? Who everybody is bunking and going to school? I have never seen. Everybody I know doesn't go. Right?
Yes.
And you can also say that when they say that, everybody drinks these days, everybody smokes these days, and you can say that nobody in my family drinks, nobody in my friends circle drinks. Whom do you know who drinks? Right? That is how you build up your inner strength. That is how you build up your confidence. Right? There are a few things we follow. Okay, that does not mean whatever the other person is doing is wrong. Of course, unless it is addictions, it doesn't mean that. Like let's take non-vegetarian. There are vegetarians, there are non-vegetarians, right? So my friends, many of my friends used to say that, we are taking it up as a challenge, Nilima. Before you leave college, we will see to it that you eat non-vegetarian. And I'm like, why? What will you get from it? If I eat vegetarian or non-vegetarian, what will you get from it? Right? It is the Rakshasa inside them which says that when a person says they won't do something, make them do it. That's all. That's all. So when you're strong, when you're completely strong, nobody can change you. Remember that. So internal strength is what you need. Internal strength is very, 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 very extremely important. Mentally, you should be so strong that nobody can move you, nothing can move you. Whatever you want, you live the life you want, the way you want. Right? Got it, guys?
Yes, Auntie, understood.
Clear till now?
Yes, auntie.
Yes, Auntie.
All right, we'll continue now. Then what happens? Once you learn everything, you come to a state where you get married. Right? Rama got married. What happened? What is Rama? Rama is the heart, the soul. Okay? The heart. The heart got married to the conscious mind. Till now, it was only the heart. Okay. Now, the heart got married to the conscious mind. The conscious mind is what now comes into play. What is conscious mind? Conscious mind and subconscious mind are what we have in our head. Conscious mind is 5%, which is external. Subconscious mind is 95%, which is internal. But that 5% holds a lot of power because that is what is connected to our physical senses. Got it? So now the mind comes into play now. Okay, even when the mind comes into play, what happens is, when the mind comes into play, what happens, like, till let's say till you are a bachelor, you're doing whatever you want, you have followed your passion, you have reached your passion. Okay, then you got married. After you get married, what happens? You want a house, you want a better job, you want more money, you want to stay in the suburbs, or you want to stay in the middle of a high-rise building. You want schools for your children, you want a park area where you can go walking, with your spouse, and then you want a supermarket which will sell everything you want. You want to go to US, you want to go on vacations, you want to do a lot of things. A lot of things. What do these represent? They represent the forest. They are the one which represent the forest they have gone into. Okay, we say that, you know, Rama and Sita left for the forest, right? They left for the forest. What does it mean? They have gone into sansar jo bolte hai na. We say that संसार के अंदर डूब गए हैं, all these things you must have heard in movies, right? Have you heard?
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, so that is sansar. It is like a whirlpool, you know, it just sucks you in. It just sucks you in. And it sucks you in such a way that, you know, you stop thinking about everything else. Okay. So now what happens? They've gone to the forest. Okay. For the first 13 years. Now let's talk about why they went to the forest. Why did Dhritarashtra, Dashrath have to send Bharat and Shatrughan away? That is because if you persevere and you know, you have the inner strength, nobody can make you do anything. So the story says that, you know, Dashrath sent away Bharat and Shatrughan to their mama's place, right? You all know that story?
Yes, auntie.
Yeah. So when you have all four of them together, nobody can separate you. Nobody can do anything to you. But those two were sent away, which means that is when he became a slave to one of the gunas. Right? When he becomes a slave to one of the gunas, what happened? He had to send Rama away, which means his happiness is lost over there. Both his mind and heart, both are not working. Right? Both are not working over there. He just had wanted to keep his wife happy. That's all. He wants to keep his guna happy. So when tamas guna rises up, what happens is you don't listen to anybody. You're blinded to logic. That is what it means. You're blinded to logic. You want to do it means you will do it. You will do it in such a way that, you know, even if you hurt the other person, it's okay for you. But you will do it. It's like Taj Mahal. He wanted a Taj Mahal. Okay. And even if he kills hundreds of thousands of workers, it's okay for him. It doesn't matter to him. He wanted a Taj Mahal. That's all. That is pure tamas guna. Right? So when the tamas guna rises within you, you have to be very, very, very careful to suppress it, because not to suppress it, to just accept it and embrace it and leave it. Okay? Don't come to a stage where you harm people to get what you wish. There are some people who will propagate wrong things in the office just so that that person doesn't get a promotion and this person gets a promotion. You know, we see a lot of things. Lot of these things we will see. As you grow older, you will see a lot of these things. But what happens is, when the tamas guna rises, you have to understand that you will regret it later. Okay, always you will regret. See, Dashrath regretted it, right? He was very sad when, you know, happiness left. Right? His happiness left. There's no happiness left in his life. And he died. When there's no happiness, you die. Right? So when they go to the forest, when they both go to the forest, for the first 13 years, she had only Rama in her, in that mind. Like, you know, she had nothing. She just survived with that Rama, with that happiness. Okay. Wherever happiness is, you see, if you are very happy, you can live in the forest, you can live on the trees, on the mountain, wherever you are happy. As far as I know, Tarzan is a very happy person till he found Jane, you know. So they are all very, very happy people. So you are happy as long as you don't go external. But on the 14th year, the conscious mind clicked in. She represents conscious mind actually, but when you keep the conscious mind controlled, you are happy. If you're not controlled, you go with the external things. Okay, so 14th year, what happened in the 14th year, guys? Anybody? Varanya, Kanaf?
The
Anybody?
war took place.
Sorry?
The war took place between Rama and Ravana.
Yes, before that, what happened? Why did the war take place?
Once Supranaka had come to their cottage, and
No,
because
those are all Rakshasas. Those are all Rakshasas. But what changed Sita? It was the golden deer.
the deer.
The golden deer. Does a golden deer exist?
No.
It doesn't. Uh, when suppose you see in front of you a golden deer, will you believe it?
No.
No, you won't. Then how can the conscious mind believe it? Sita represents a conscious mind. But if I say that, in Russia, they actually created deers studded with rubies, or Dubai, there was in Dubai, they created it. They used the Russian technology. Then if you see it in front of you, will you believe it?
Yes.
Why? Still your conscious mind will say, na, a deer cannot be golden, right?
Ma'am, like a living deer cannot be studded with rubies and all, but maybe an artificial.
So that is how conscious mind works. It tricks you into thinking that maybe it exists. It's a maybe. In Harry Potter, when we first read Harry Potter, we saw the moving pictures, right? We saw the moving pictures and we were like, it would be so good if we had moving pictures.
Ma'am, like in the newspapers and all, they
Yes.
have, right? Yes.
And iPhone came up with it. In iPhones, you can actually record a 10-second video. Okay, there's a method in it. It seems wherein you can have the moving pictures,
Like live pictures.
like live pictures. Yeah. So when you read Harry Potter, did you think it was possible?
Like we always wished.
We wished.
Yeah,
Yes,
we wished
we
it
wished.
could be.
But we didn't think it was possible, right? But there was this guy who thought it was possible and he made it possible. He is one of the guys who works with iPhone, with Apple, right? It obsessed him so much. It obsessed him so much that it became a passion for him to create a phone which will actually take pictures like that. That is how passion works. Even now, suppose I show this to a person who is 80 years old and say that, see, the pictures will move, he will not believe it. He might not believe it. He or she might not believe it. And they will say that, no, that's utter nonsense. But we have seen it happen. So Sita, even though she knows it is nonsensical that, there's a deer, she makes Rama go hunt for it. But Rama, what does he do? He leaves his tapashakti with her for protection. He knows that, even if the happiness goes away, if it leaves a protective covering around your heart, around your mind, then the mind will be protected, right? So he leaves Lakshmana and he goes, but the conscious mind is so tricky. What it does is it even pushes the tapashakti away from her. That is when the Lakshmana is sent away. And when in your heart, your inner happiness and your passion, these two move away from you, like suppose, let's take the same guy who created this iPhone, the thing, okay, the photograph thing. Suppose he feels that I have created this, I am the greatest. Okay, what is happening over there? He is getting a cover of ego over him. His passion is no longer existing. His willpower is no longer existing. His happiness is no longer existing, because now he wants a phone which will take 3 videos at a time, maybe, right? Or maybe he wants a phone wherein the video will automatically send it to the paparazzi, right, to the newspaper. Or you never know, like, so what happens? He created something very unique, but he is not happy with it. And also his passion has changed track. Now he wants to do it for fame, not for himself, no longer for himself. He's doing it for fame. He's doing it for a promotion. He could be doing it for appreciation, right? There are an umpteen number of things which might come up to you in your head during that time, okay? That is what is Ravana. Ravana is ego. Ego will take you away. It will take you away from your happiness. It will take you away from your passions, because ego does not let you grow. Okay, ego does not let you grow. It doesn't give you happiness, it doesn't give you sadness. There is we say that he has taken her and put her in Ashokavana, right? Correct?
Yes, auntie.
What is Ashokavana? Ah plus shoka. There is no sadness there, there's no happiness there either. They have not mentioned if there is happiness, but they have mentioned there is no sadness there as such. She's just sitting there. Okay, she's just there. You are just in a stage where there is no sadness as such. Like, again, this scientist, if you take this programmer, there's no sadness in him. There's no happiness either. That you have to understand. But he has everything at his disposal. He has, he has the office at his disposal, the software at his disposal. He has everything he can make use of. If he wants, he can use it and he can come out. But if he thinks that what can be better than this, what can be better than this, or if he waits for the happiness to come to him to save him, right? He is the one who is in a rut. He's stuck there.
आ गया है इंटरनेट. हाँ, मेरे को लगा आपके पास भी आ गया होगा. Sorry, auntie, I wasn't.
Not an issue. Not an issue. Now, when you say Ravana has 10 heads, what does it indicate? Your ego, when you are egoistical, you have 10 different thoughts, not one thought. Like I said, right? Instead of creating it for his own happiness, there's only one thought. Initially, when he created it, there's only one thought that, whatever was in Harry Potter, let me put it. Let me get it out into the open. Let me see if I can create that. That could be the one thought which drove him. But if there is an ego blanket, what happens is, if I do this, then the next programmer, he will not be able to reach my position, or I will get promoted, I will get more money, I will buy a bigger house, my wife will be happier, my children can go to a different school, maybe an international school or something. I will reach a higher echelon of the society. I'll be able to have more parties, reach out to more people, get a better job. Umpteen number of thoughts. That is what these 10 heads of Ravana indicates. Got it, guys?
Yes, auntie.
Yes, auntie.
All right. Any doubts till now?
No doubts.
Okay. Again, you have to understand this particular ego, whatever we talk about, is again based on the 3 gunas. Okay. The Sattva, Rajas and Tamo Gunam, which I told you, right? It's based on those. Based on that, your ego will form. If it is Sattva Guna, then you will think that whatever I have created will benefit will benefit my family. Then it comes to the neighborhood. Then it comes to society. It'll benefit Earth. People who are saying let's repair the ozone layer. Those are the Sattva Guna people who think that they can do anything. Right? That is the Sattva Guna. If it is Raja Guna, they will think that, ooh, I have created this. So this I can use to get into politics. This I can get political power. Or this will make me head of a firm, or I can open my own firm and go against Apple. Right? That is Raja Guna. It's all about power. Okay. And if it is Tamas Guna, they will say that, oh, wow, I can use this to destroy a country. I can use this to create a missile which will destroy a country. which will mess up people's heads, which will create a virus, which will kill a number of people. So that is the tamas guna. So even ego you have to keep in control. Actually, ego is the only thing you have to keep in control, right? You cannot let anything reach to the egoistical state. Got it? Now, in the ego state, all these, you guys know Vibhishana, right?
Yes, auntie.
Who is Vibhishana?
He is the brother of Ravana, and he was an ardent devotee of Rama, and he helped Rama to reach Lanka.
Yes. Now, Vibhishana is a sattva egoistic types. Okay, I'll tell you why. First is sattva guna. What happens is when you want to do something good, you are ready to destroy even your own family. You just want to do good, you think you are doing good even at the cost of your family, even at the cost of everybody around you. You don't care about it. But I mean, in some places people say that he did it because he did want to become the king. We don't know about it, we don't know what his thoughts were. But whatever he did, yes, he did for the bhakti, he did for the good of the people, if you look at it that way. But if it destroys his entire Lanka and everybody in it, who is he going to be the king of? Who is he going to rule, right? You should at least think of that. If you are doing nice but you are burning your bridges at the back, how will you go back, right? You should also think of that. So that is the sattva egoistic thing. Okay. Ravana, definitely rajo. It's power. Okay, he wants to prove that I can win. I can win. Just prove that I can win. He knows he can't win. Still, it is a matter of pride. Over there, matter of pride. So because of pride, he wants to he just wants to fight. Whether he wins or does not win, it's like our every 5-year elections. Whether they win, they don't win, they don't care. They want to fight for it. Okay. Third is the Kumbhakarna. They just eat and sleep. Tamas guna people, they don't do much. They just eat and sleep. They eat, sleep, they do things when they want to do. It is a basic survival thing. Okay? They don't want to do anything. They don't want to work towards a passion. They don't want to work towards anything. He doesn't care if his brother dies. He doesn't care if Rama dies. He doesn't care if anybody dies. He doesn't care his brother got Sita from somewhere. He is only worried about his food and sleep. That is the tamas kind of ego. Okay? So any type of these egos, keep an eye out for them. See if they are rearing their head. See if they are within you. And let go. Okay? Let go. Whatever happens, let go. The only 4 things you have to keep in you are the Rama, Lakshmana, Satrughna, and Bharata. Okay? What are they? They are the happiness within you for what you're working for. It is the passion in you for something new, the perseverance to reach that passion. And what is the 4th one? Inner strength. Okay? Always just keep these 4 within you. Okay? Now, in order to get Sita out of the Lanka, which is out of the Ashokavana, whom did Rama use? Who helped him? Guys, who helped him?
Ma'am, can you repeat the question?
In order to help Rama to bring Sita from Lanka, who helped him?
Hanuman.
All the monkeys, right?
Yes.
What are the monkeys? What do they represent? Monkeys represent the good in us. Different kinds of good in us.
Yeah.
Whatever we do, different kinds of good. Okay, each one represents one kind of good. And there are many good qualities within us, which we only go to when we want to, when we need their help, right? Otherwise, they're just within us. They will stay within us. That's what the monkeys represent. Now, within these monkeys are the. Have you guys heard about chakras?
Auntie, the what chakras?
The chakras in our body. Have you guys ever heard about it?
Yes, Auntie, I've heard it, but I never understood what it means.
Okay, chakras are nothing. They are just energy points in our body. Okay, and they are along the spine. 7 chakras along the spine from the root till the crown. Okay, there are 7 chakras. Say, suppose you want a you want to make a stick stand. What should you do? You should give clamps, right, in order to make it stand straight. So these chakras act like those clamps. But when there is energy flow, like, see, energy has to flow in our body, right? That's a major thing. If energy doesn't flow, if there's no air flow, there's no blood flow, there's no energy flow in our body, we will all be lying down dead. So that should be there. But when these energy centers are blocked, or when they are not straight, they are bent, or they're not clear, then what happens is the energy doesn't flow freely in our body. Then when that happens, suppose, let's say there's one energy chakra here. Suppose the energy is flowing here and it is getting stuck here. Then we can't talk. Whatever are our thoughts, we can't put it out. We will just feel guilty inside, we'll feel regret inside, but we can't speak out. Even when somebody insults us, we just stay. Or if we want to talk eloquently in a public space in front of a number of people or something, we can't do it. That's throat chakra. Okay, so each one has different names. So I'll tell you in a simpler way, very simple way. Okay, one is the root chakra, the one where it starts, root chakra, which is at the base of your hips. Okay, and then about 2-3 inches below your navel is something called a sacral chakra. Okay, which keeps all your genital organs healthy and happy. Okay, now 3 inches above your navel is called the solar plexus chakra, which takes care of your entire stomach area, all the organs related to it, all the reproductive organs, all the digestive organs, everything is taken care of by this solar plexus chakra. Okay, above that is the heart chakra. Okay, the heart chakra is what keeps your lungs, your heart healthy, blood flowing happily, and that is also what keeps you happy or sad, or all the emotions are stored in your heart chakra. Okay, and then you come to the throat chakra. Throat chakra is what will help you talk eloquently. It will help you express what you feel inside easily. So when the throat chakra is very active, people become MS Subbulakshmi. Okay, their throat chakras are very active. And then is the forehead chakra. It's also called the third eye chakra, a number of names for it, head chakra, a number of names. So I call it the forehead chakra. The forehead chakra, when it is active, it gives rise to intuition, sixth sense, you being able to see things, feel things, hear things, lot of it. Intuition, like, your ESP increases. All those things happens when your forehead chakra is active. And then the last one is the crown chakra. It helps you connect to God. Okay. So this is a very simple overview of it. I'm just telling you because so you know that there are 7 of them and they are in a line along your spine till your crown. Okay. Now what happens is Vali, right? First, before that, Rama, when he goes, he doesn't know where to go to find Sita, right? The happiness, he doesn't know where to find the mind, the conscious mind. So it just goes. And when there is no mind, how can you think? You can't think. He's just going, and then he meets Shabari. Shabari is the guide, a mentor. Okay, a guide is somebody who will put you on the right path. They will not do anything else for you. They will not tell you what to do. They will not be able to show you also what to do, but they can put you on the right path. So Shabari tells him that, go and meet Vali and Sugriva. Okay. Now, why Vali and Sugriva? Why not somebody else? There are a number of them. She could have said Angad, a number of monkeys. Why Vali? Vali represents our Muladhara chakra. Now every chakra has petals. Okay, it's like a flower. Each one has petals. Muladhara chakra has 4 petals. Dharma, Artha, Kama, Moksha. Each one represents one of these. Dharma, you follow the dharma. Artha, for the money. Okay. Kama, passion for anything, for anything, pleasure, happiness, whatever. Moksha. If you remove this dharma, artha, kama, then you reach the moksha. Okay. So root chakra is the first thing we should concentrate on if we want to start connecting with the divine. Okay. We have to let go of these three. We have to reduce these three. We can't let go. We are not sannyasis. We're not yogis. But we should reduce them as much as we can. So when he says that you should meet Vali, it means that Vali had to fight, right? Why did Vali have to fight? Because unless you break down that root chakra, unless you break down those, you cannot move upwards. So Vali indicates the root chakra, okay? And Sugriva indicates the throat chakra. Sugriva. Su is good, right? For anything good, we write Su. Sujit. Sunayana. Su is the word we use to indicate anything good. Griva means throat. So Sugriva means good throat. What does it mean? An open throat chakra. So if you have to reach here, if you have to reach Sugriva, if Sugriva has to say something good, then it has to come from the root chakra, right? So Vali has to be hit first. Got it? And only when these two are open, these are all open now. Once Vali is hit, which means the root chakra has opened up, then the life force can pass through you, which is Hanuman. Hanuman is a life force. Hanuman is a life force which there are some involuntary things we do, right? Like when something comes, we blink our eyes, we breathe. We breathe involuntarily. We don't think about it. Heartbeat, heart pumping, lungs working. There's a constant flow of blood in our veins, arteries, everything. All these involuntary things. How is the digestive system? You digest whatever you eat. Excretory system. You excrete what is not required. You breathe in and out. How does all this happen? Have you guys ever thought of it? How does it happen? We just take it for granted. This only happens when there is life force in our body. And when the life force leaves, we die. That is when we die. Okay. So the life force is Hanuman. That is the reason when you call upon, that is the reason people say that, Hanuman doesn't know his own powers. Hanuman indicates our capabilities. Okay. So we don't know our capabilities. We don't know what we are capable of till we try it, right? If we are capable of writing 12 subject exams, I'm sure we are capable of writing 15 subjects also. But we will think that, 12 itself was so hard. I can't write 15. I cannot. If you remove that cannot, right, then you are kicking in that life force. You are saying that you have done 12, you can do 15. Why not? That why not comes up with the life force inside you. Got it? So this Vali, Sugriva and Hanuman, these indicate your chakras, the passing of life force through your body, your entire body, the the proper functioning of your body. That's why whenever you think of Hanuman, they tell you that, you know, do pranayama when you do Surya Namaskara, when you do the Hanuman Chalisa and all. Concentrate on your breath and do the Hanuman Chalisa. Why? It is the Ida Pingala and Shushumna. You are concentrating on the breath. When you concentrate on your breath, you kickstart your life force. Right? So that is what these three represent. Now it seems when they were waiting over there. Okay, is it clear till now, guys?
Yes, auntie.
Any doubts?
No, ma'am.
All right. Now it's they say that, you know, when Sugriva had given them 1 month's time to find Sita. Okay, all these monkeys went and they could not find Sita. They reached to the end and they were sitting over there. And then Angad says that if we go back like this, anyhow, my uncle is going to kill us all. So let's all die over here. Okay, we can't do anything right now. Let's all die over here. At that time, there's a cave behind them. Okay, and everybody knows, all of you know Jatayu.
Yes, auntie, his brother was there.
Yes, Jatayu was the bird who tried to stop Ravana from taking away Sita. Okay, so these all these Jatayu and whoever tried to stop Ravana are our inner things which try to stop us from becoming egoistical, but we ignore it. We ignore it. We don't care. You know, and when ego covers us, we don't care what it is that is bothering us. Okay, so so Jatayu's brother, he came outside, it seems, and his wings were burned. And somebody had mentioned that, you know, if he hears the story of Rama, the wings will grow back. So all these monkeys were lying over there. They were talking about Rama's story just before their death. They thought they will just discuss about Rama and they will die. Okay. So he started hearing the story and he came out of the cave. And now, you know, right? He's an eagle and eagles can see really far. So he managed to see that 100 yojanas, they say, no, from the place they were in, Lanka is about 100 yojanas. So each yojana is about 2.5 miles or something. Okay. So he managed to see so far because his vision was so good, and he managed to see, and he told them that, you know, Sita is there. And while he was telling them, his wings grew and he flew away. Got it? So again, he again indicates a mentor, a guide, okay, who will come to you when you need them, when you are desperate. We say, right, that, you know, I'm feeling really desperate. I just wish somebody comes to help me through this. Somebody comes and, you know, shows me a solution. And what do we usually think of? We think of God. See, God cannot come as a manifestation, you know, because, you know, God is like electricity. You want to see electricity, you have to turn on the light and say that, okay, electricity is there. You can't just see, look at the wire and say that, okay, there's electricity passing through it. You can't do that. So God is like that. You have to turn on the fan or the wire. So these mentors and guides, the teachers, I would say, the teachers are like that. They are a manifestation of God. They have come to tell you for a reason. Okay, they have come to you in that form for a reason. Okay, like if you want light, you have to turn on the light switch, right? You can't turn on the fan switch. So similarly, the mentor will come based on your needs and requirements. Okay, so that is why there is a saying which says, you know, look around you, everybody and everything, even a small ant can teach you things. Lord Dattatreya, I think he had mentioned that, you know, if you really want to learn, then even a small ant can teach you things. Right? So look around for people who can help you. Look around for people who give you advice. Don't let your ego block that. When somebody gives you advice, take it. Okay, you never know why it has come to you, right? So take it. then what happens is when they go to they get to know about it, right? And it seems while looking for the for Sita around that area, what they do is they enter into a cave. All of them enter into a cave and they get lost inside. Okay. And they are like, looking around for an exit. They cannot find an exit. And at that time, a person named Swayam Prabha shows them the exit, how to go out, get out of that cave. Okay. Now this Swayam Prabha indicates your forehead chakra. So they went in the throat chakra, they went in and they have no idea how to come. No intuition was working for them. So this Swayam Prabha indicates their intuition that, okay, we do have Hanuman who can go and get Sita. We do have Hanuman who can do it for us, But unless you get that intuition, you will not use it, right? The solution will be right in front of you. But unless you get it that, okay, we can use this solution. This might work for us. You will not use it, right? So that is indicated by Swayam Prabha. Okay. So they come out of the cave and then Hanuman goes there. He sees her and, she is rescued. Now, these are all these things, whatever have come during this entire Ramayana, they are all like a flag, a lamppost, which tells you that you are going in the right path. Okay, they will tell you that, yes, you are in the right path. If you don't reach those lampposts, it means you are going somewhere wrong. So always keep an eye out for these lampposts. Always keep an eye out on your version of success, your version of being happy. Okay. And then now I want to end it over here. So if you have any doubts, anything you wish to discuss, any questions?
Auntie, in the last, what did you say?
Which one?
Ma'am, just now, because I couldn't hear.
Okay. So what happens is, as you go in life, you keep getting something called lampposts. Okay. Something which are similar to lampposts, which show you that you are going in the right path. Like if you are doing well in a job, you will get a promotion. That's a lamppost, right? Similarly, in your life itself, when you do something good, you will see a lamppost which will show you that, you will find a guide, a mentor, and a lamppost wherein it will tell you that, yes, I am going in the right path, right? So don't let ego cover you. Okay, be as you are, be happy, find success within yourself, follow your passions. Okay, be very staunch about what you want from life. Let it not be something which can be taken away from you. Okay, let it not be something which will disappear from your life. It should be within you, inside you. Okay, so I think I'll end it over here. Thank you so much for joining me. I just hope you understood it. Anita ma'am, yes. हाँ जी, आपका सुनाई नहीं दे रहा है।
मेरा बेंगलोर का वो वहाँ पे भी ना यही कराया था और एक्सेलेंट मिला था मुझे। ये सारी चीजें रिवाइव होगी। थैंक यू वेरी मच।
थैंक यू मैम।
वहाँ रामायण महाभारत का ना तो ये सारा कुछ करवाया था। बहुत सारी चीजें रिवाइव हो गई। अब पुरानी जगह पे ले गए मुझे वापस।
थैंक यू सो मच मैम।
थैंक यू वेरी मच।
आपके पास है तो भेज दीजिए। हमें नॉलेज तो कभी भी पढ़ सकते हैं हम लोग।
नहीं, वो उसमें एक चैप्टर था, उसमें उन्होंने करवाया, सारा कुछ ये करवाया था। आपकी वीडियो भी बंद हो गई है।
हाँ नहीं, मेरी वीडियो तो ऑन है मैम।
पता नहीं क्या हो गया। चलो ठीक है,
कोई बात नहीं। आप घर आने के बाद मैं फोन कर
कुछ रिटर्न मिला तो भेज दूंगा आपको।
ठीक है।
हाँ जी,
थैंक यू।
चलो ठीक है, ओके, थैंक यू वेरी मच।
हेलो नीलिमा जी।
हाँ जी, कैसा लगा?
हेलो, इट्स वंडरफुल सेशन, वेरी वंडरफुल।
थैंक यू।
वंडरफुल, अमेजिंग। नेवर आई हर्ड अबाउट दिस ना।
Thank you all time.
This
Thanks to
type
my
of
mom
Ramayana.
actually.
Yes.
Because,
First time I heard this Ramayana by you, and it's so amazing. Wow, wonderful.
thank you, ma'am.
Salute to you. Hats off to you. There's no comments
No,
that I
ma'am,
can
it's
give
not.
you.
No, I would say this is thanks to my mom because you know the way she understands things
Yes.
is totally different from others.
Okay.
Yeah,
Then pay
she
my
gives a
great
logical
regards to your
interpretation
mom.
to logical interpretation to whatever she learns.
Yes.
No,
ये with logic, na? This Ramayana is full of with logic,
full of
है
logic.
ना?
Yes.
And pay my great regards to your mom also.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you so much.
ये आपकी मम्मा ने कराई थी आपको?
हाँ जी.
Yes, बहुत बढ़िया.
नाइस.
एकदम सिंपल तरीके से वो समझाती है.
बहुत
You know, वो
क्या
घुस करती है हमारे अंदर.
वेरी गुड, बहुत बढ़िया.
Thank you so much.
आज
आपकी
लग रहा
मम्मा
है कि
क्या
मेरा
करते हैं?
सेशन बहुत अच्छा हो गया आज का. आज अगर मैं मिस करती तो बहुत कुछ मिस कर जाती आज में.
नहीं, मैं तो
लेकिन
शेयर करने वाली हूँ रिकॉर्डिंग because I want more and more people to learn this.
Okay.
Yeah. More and more people. It's a good thing.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. आपने
बिल्कुल
मम्मी ने भी ज्वाइन किया है.
हाँ यस, मैं पूरा, मुझे बहुत इंटरेस्ट आया, बहुत ही अच्छा लगा. थैंक्स अ लॉट. थैंक यू. बाय. Thank you so much. Bye.
Bye everybody. Thanks for joining me. Kanam, any doubts baby?
No, auntie, I just got disconnected actually.
All right. Thanks for joining me. Paranya, thank you.
Bye, auntie.
Bye. Have a wonderful week.
Thanks,
Auntie,
auntie.
so you're leaving, ending the class?
Sorry?
Are you ending the class?
Yes, I'm ending the class. You want something?
No, auntie. I just asked because everyone was saying bye, right? So I just asked.
No, I'm ending it now.
Okay.
Okay. Bye, auntie.
Bye then.
Bye, auntie. Bye, bye, everyone. All the best, Kanav and Lalit, for exam.
Yeah, all the best, guys.